Greetings and welcome to traders, investors, and everyone in our audience today. It's the 3rd of March 2021. My name is Qasim Khan. I'm an engineer, finance professional, and entrepreneur, a former banker, and globally connected with investors on products. I'm based in Vancouver, Canada, and today we are going to have an exciting interview with an innovative company which is part of the OTC markets. The ticker name is CBNT, CBondSystems. Nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is a term that is not understood by many. It's the science of extremely small things applied in the field of science, especially chemistry. The innovation in nanotechnology space has just begun to shape itself into applications we can use in our daily lives. Two such applications of nanotechnology are safety and security. Today, I would like to gladly introduce one such company that has created some products that will change the world, save lives, protect assets in the global industries. I have here with me Scott Silverman, the CEO of CBondSystems, and Allison Tomek, the company's Vice President of Corporate Communications. Scott, Allison, welcome to the interview today. Congratulations on bringing out a very innovative venture, and today everybody in the retail market, traders, investors, and all the bigger companies are going to look forward to something. I found it very interesting, and that's why I reached out to speak further with you on your products. And I think there's such a big market for this that the market is not even invented as yet. So, how are you doing today?
Very good, Qasim, and thank you for having us. We look forward to talking.
Okay, Scott, for my first question, please tell us about yourself, your career, your history. Tell us a bit about your professional journey.
Sure, that's a long answer, but I'll try and cut it down to a few minutes if I can. I am a lawyer by profession. I went to University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia and then Villanova University Law School. I practiced commercial litigation for 6 years. And then I became a partner in a telecom business called ATI Communications. Long story short, that career led to first being the VP of Business Development for a public company by the name of Applied Digital Solutions, which traded on the NASDAQ as ADSX. And eventually I became the president and CEO of ADSX. About 2004 was the era for that. And we built a great company based on RFID, radio frequency identification technology, specifically implantable RFID. So as an example, if you have a dog or a cat that has a chip in their neck, so that if they get lost and they're brought to the shelter, they can scan that dog and call you and say, "We found Fluffy." That was just one example of our technologies. And from Applied Digital Solutions, we spun off various different companies, either through IPO or merger. One of them was a company known as Digital Angel Corporation, which traded on the American exchange as DOC and then on the NASDAQ as DIGA. And then a company called VeriChip Corporation, which traded on the NASDAQ as CHIP, which focused on RFID technology and healthcare. In running all of these businesses, we look for certain things, and Allison's been with me throughout the various companies we've talked about. And we look for a strong intellectual property portfolio, strong technology that we could eventually commercialize and create value for the shareholders of all of the relevant public companies that I mentioned. And respectfully, I think we did that. All of the companies I mentioned were either sold to a third party. In the case of VeriChip, for example, it was sold to Stanley Works, the lock and tool company. And when you go into a children's hospital, you see Stanley Security Solutions all over the place, and that is a direct result of them acquiring the technologies of VeriChip Corporation. After all that, I got involved with a company called Veritech Corporation after I personally bought back some of the assets from Stanley. And as a result of that, Veritech took on the big task of being a provider of implantable RF technology in the identification of medical devices, which was a big initiative by the FDA. Long story short, we moved forward with that business. And eventually we were bought by a breast implant manufacturer that's based out of Costa Rica. They bought the majority of the assets. The name of that company is Establishment Labs. It's public information. They're a public company on the NASDAQ, traded as ESTA. So about 3 years ago, with all of this, my legal background, my technology background, my capital markets background, I went to Houston, Texas, to do some consulting work for a private company by the name of CBondSystems. And I liked what I saw. I know we're going to get into it, but they had a deep intellectual property portfolio based out of Rice University. And 3 months later, I ended up becoming the CEO of CBond, which started in December of 2017. We took it public through a merger in April or May of 2018. And that's really where the commercialization of the intellectual property portfolio started and led to the CBond story that we're about to talk about today.
Very nice, very impressive. Okay, my next question is to Allison. And that is, Allison, please introduce yourself and tell us how you connected with CBondSystems.
Sure. Hi, Qasim. Thank you very much for having us. So my name is Allison Tomek. I am the Vice President of Corporate Communications for CBondSystems. I came to work for CBond as a result of my many years long relationship with Scott, as he mentioned. I've been in the investor relations and corporate communications field for over 20 years, ranging from microcap companies to multi-billion-dollar companies in a variety of different industries, from short line railroads to generic pharmaceutical companies, technology companies, again, as Scott mentioned in his introduction. So I started working with CBond just before they went public, as Scott mentioned, through the merger into the existing company, which was West Mountain Alternative. Have been here at CBond since, and as I said, involved in the company's investor relations, corporate communications, securities administration, corporate governance, etc. So we're a small but strong team, and we all wear a lot of hats, and we're excited to be here.
Okay, that's very nice, and I think you have a very interesting responsibility on your shoulders. And Scott, my next question is with you. As the CEO of CBondSystems, how have you changed the direction of the company?
Well, when I got there at the end of 2017, the company had raised a bunch of capital, maybe $5-6 million through angel investors, and had a myriad of investors, over 80 investors at the time, some of which had already been in for 3 or 4 years and were looking for some type of liquidity or opportunity. And candidly, the company needed more cash. What I saw there was an opportunity in the intellectual property portfolio that I mentioned previously, which comes out of Rice University, headed by a gentleman by the name of Dr. Andy Barron, who was on the original Rice team back in the 90s that invented nanotechnology. The lead guy on that team was Dr. John Smalley.
Wow.
And the whole team won the Nobel Prize for inventing nanotechnology. So Andy at the time was the chair of the chemistry department and wrote a lot of the patents related to CBond technology. He's now chair of the group called ESRI out of Swansea University in the UK. And we have 22 to 23 patent pendings, exclusive licenses, which have been valued they've been valued by an independent third party, major global valuation firm, at $33.7 million is the valuation that was put on our IP portfolio after I got involved with the company.
Impressive.
So we use that as the foundation, if you will, to build the company. We're at heart, we're a technology company. We're not a sales organization. We're not a marketing organization. We are a technology to develop technology to this day. A few weeks ago, we announced that we're looking at developing what's called a self-healing glass as an example of how we continue to develop technology. So the first thing I changed when I got there was the focus, is that we are a technology company. We're not a glass company. We're not a sales organization. We're a technology company that looks to partner with the proper distributors in order to commercialize our IP into products. And the first products that were commercialized out of CBondSystems related primarily to window film. And Qasim, I can get into the products now if you want, or we can do it a little bit later, but the window film products are now part of what we call our Safety Solutions Group, which was another initiative that I started when I came into the company, of dividing the company into two pieces. The Safety Solutions Group is focused on architectural glass and providing a system for an anti-deterrent from break-ins, and more recently, a bullet-resistant solution as certified by the National Institute of Justice in order to stop 5 rounds from a handgun at 15 feet or 5 rounds from an assault rifle at 50 feet, and we can get into that later in the conversation. The second group is the transportation. Yeah, thank you. The second group is the Transportation Solutions Group, which is buoyed by our newest intellectual property, our technology that we developed internally. And the product that came out of that development is called CBond NanoShield, which has nothing to do with window film whatsoever. It is a spray-on, squeegee-off application that goes on an automotive windshield and strengthens that windshield. In other words, helps prevent chips and cracks by an average of 40% and a high of over 82% as tested with many third parties, including major rent companies and others. But at our core, the intellectual property portfolio is where we start. And when you commercialize what we've developed, what we do, Qasim, is we strengthen and lightweight, but primarily strengthen brittle materials. Brittle material markets are huge. Glass alone is a huge market. The next brittle material that we could go after in time is cement and concrete. But right now we're focused on the glass market, primarily on the architectural side with our Safety Solutions Group, and the automotive side or transportation side with our Transportation Solution Group with CBond NanoShield at its core.
That's highly impressive, really. And I'm just starting to wonder all the applications that could come out of it, and we're going to discuss it in a while. And can you please tell me what vertical markets does CBondSystems serve at the moment, and what it plans to do in the future?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we have two core groups, the Safety Solutions Group and the Transportation Solutions Group. The Safety Solutions Group has two products that are based on a window film and CBond chemical solution technology. Those two products are called CBond Secure, which was the original product before I got there, and a newer product called CBond BRS, which is our bullet-resistant solution. The CBond Secure is one layer of 15 mil film, with the CBond solution working as a slip agent and a strengthener between the film and a piece of architectural glass in a building itself. Now, when I say slip agent, many people might not know what that means. But if you've ever seen window film put on a car, for example, they put it up against the window, they move it around, they use soap and water as the slip agent to properly place that window film. When they use CBond, it works as a better slip agent. It strengthens the seal between the film and the glass, and it strengthens the underlying glass by an average of 21%. So we are now using this in architectural establishments like retail establishments, government buildings, airports, in order to deter, not prevent, but to deter and slow down a break-in. So we have a jewelry store in Houston, for example, that's been broken into twice, but they never get in. They break the glass shatters, but because of the window film and CBond Secure solution, the chemical solution of CBond, they don't get in because it takes over a minute and a half to break through that. And the best example of this in recent history, unfortunately, is what happened at the Capitol building on January 6th.
Yeah, exactly.
For those of you that have seen the videos, you'll see them breaking the glass, but the glass kind of hangs there and they can't get into the building. And it takes them 30 seconds, a minute and a half to get into the building. And that's because that glass has window film on it that is not allowing them immediate entry from just breaking the glass and getting into the building. With CBond Secure, which was not on the Capitol, we don't believe that's our customer, but with CBond Secure, that break-in would take even longer and it acts as a deterrent. So with this as a foundation, we developed CBond BRS, our bullet-resistant solution. If you look at our website, you can see the videos. and I tell whoever I talk to, this is the coolest video. This is the coolest application. This defines how good CBond technology is. And the way it works, and again, as certified by the National Institute of Justice, so you take 3 layers of 15 mil film with CBond solution in between each layer, and then between the inside layer and the glass itself. In most instances, it's a half-inch piece of glass in an architectural setting, like a school, for example, or a government building. And we will stop 5 rounds at 15 feet of any handgun. With 9 layers of film, same application process, we're certified to stop an AK or an AR, an AK-47 or an AR-15. 5 rounds at 50 feet is what we're certified for. So imagine in a school and being able to actually prevent a bullet from penetrating the solution of the glass, the CBond, and the window film, and not being able to shoot through into a school building or a government building or media outlets, which have been areas of attack lately. And imagine taking both these technologies, Qasim, and spreading it, unfortunately, to what's been going on in the geopolitical landscape of looting and break-ins. You see New York City and it's boarded up. You see Washington, D.C. and it's fenced in. When the horrible events of George Floyd happened, Minneapolis and Houston for the funeral, the procession routes were boarded up out of fear of looting and rioting. The Capitol building with what went on there on January 6th. We believe that our safety solutions group, albeit that we're only the solution, the technology that goes between the film and the glass itself, but we can be the solution that helps secure and make this country and make the world safer, not prevent break-ins, not prevent shootings, but give everyone a little bit more time to get to safe ground. And that's really the goal of what our safety solutions group is all about from the window film perspective.
That's very interesting. Please go ahead.
One other aspect before we leave that is what's very unique about us is we have one-way capabilities with these products, the bullet-resistant products. Meaning that if you're a security guard on the inside of a school and there's a bad guy shooting into the school, the bullet won't get in, but you could shoot out and get the bad guy. Because of the way the film is applied to the inner layer of the school, it provides one-way capabilities, which is very unique. So that's our safety solutions group. I'll stop for a second, but if you want, I'm happy to get into the transportation solutions group.
Okay, we'll get into the transportation side of it. So your vertical markets are literally private security, government security, automotive, education sector, schools, and transportation sector, let's call it the automotive sector, if you imbalance on both sides. Okay, so I think you have a lot on your plate, because this product is very innovative. I had some secondary questions, like in relevance to this. Do you have any competitors on the market with same kind of intellectual property?
So with the same kind of intellectual property, no. But there are competitors both for the safety solutions group and the transportation solutions group. I've only discussed safety solutions so far, so before we shift to transportation, let me answer your question on safety solutions. There are a number of window film companies, especially since the school shootings happened, most relevantly Parkland, Florida. There are a number of companies that have started to say that they have the ability to stop a bullet, similar to the way that we're saying that we have the ability to stop a bullet. However, what they do not have is the CBond solution to go between each layer of film and the glass itself, which makes it even stronger, even better, and gives us the National Institute of Justice certification.
Okay, that's like the something that you're holding, like very uniquely. That's what makes you unique, because you have been certified for it. And what other certifications do you have for your products besides the intellectual property?
Well, we have ASTM, we have National Institute of Justice, we have third-party validations from HP White Laboratories. That's pretty much it at this point.
Okay, that's wonderful. So I think you are about to hit it very big, with the kind of information you've shared. So what do you think? What are your company prospects for 2021? What can people expect? Would you like to share any plans or strategies with the audience today?
Sure. Obviously, I'm only going to talk about what's public information at this point.
Sure.
We've given public guidance for 2021 of $2.1 million, which may not sound like a lot revenue-wise, but it's a significant jump from 2020 and a larger jump from 2019. The bulk of that and the potential to exceed that significantly comes from our transportation solutions group. And let me mention quickly about CBond NanoShield, which is the core of that group. It is an automotive product that gets sprayed onto your windshield. There's no window film. It doesn't take time to apply it. You can do the application yourself in 1.5 to 2 minutes. So you get a 2-ounce bottle of CBond NanoShield, you spray it onto your windshield, and then you squeegee it off. And the way our technology works, it's amazing stuff to watch. Again, there's videos of it on our website, is that the CBond NanoShield solution microscopically self-emulsifies within the microscopic flaws that are inherent in every piece of glass, but certainly because of windshields, because of the way a windshield is bent during the float line or manufacturing process.
Exactly.
And whenever a windshield chips or cracks, the majority of the time, the super majority of the time, the crack starts and grows from one of these microscopic flaws that you can't see prior to the pebble hitting it or whatever started the crack itself. So by penetrating and self-emulsifying within those flaws, CBond NanoShield strengthens your windshield by an average of 40%, meaning there's a 40% less chance of cracking or breaking. And in a study with one of the largest rental car companies at the Denver International Airport, where we did over 3,300 of their vehicles for a 6-month period of time, their rate of repair and replacement on those vehicles was 82% less than the other 10,000 vehicles in the fleet.
Impressive.
And that's a $20 million plus per year issue for the major rental car companies. So think about insurance companies. They now bear the brunt of replacing a windshield. Most relevantly, you talk about markets, Qasim. Most relevantly, the market for this is huge for one main reason. Windshields today are approximately 4 times more than they were 7 to 10 years ago. 7 to 10 years ago, a windshield had in it a defroster and an antenna, maybe. Today, think about your windshield, and even mid-range cars, not even high-line cars today, you have heads-up displays, you have sensor capabilities, you have ADAS systems. If you get too close to a vehicle, you see a little thing pop up that you're going to hit the vehicle in front of you.
Yeah.
And basically, the windshield has become the communicator to the outside world that provides information to the rest of the vehicle so that the vehicle can react. Because of that, the cost of windshields has gone up substantially. And everyone in the supply chain, from the automotive manufacturer to the OEM windshield manufacturer to the aftermarket windshield repair companies like Safelite, for example, to the insurance companies that bear the brunt of the replacement of windshields, to the consumer that doesn't like replacing their windshield and it's a pain in the neck to do so, to the fleet companies and trucking companies that have downtime because of broken windshields. Everyone in that chain can benefit from CBond NanoShield, and I'm going to make a strong statement right now, which you asked me before about safety solutions. There is no competition to strengthen a windshield. The only competition are what are called hydrophobics, like the Rain-X's of the world that make your water runoff prettier, but they do not strengthen. They just provide a water runoff system. So we're very uniquely positioned. We're expanding a distributor model that includes a product with warranty with it right now, and we expect the bulk of the revenue, to get back to your question, we expect the bulk of the revenue in 2021, the exponential growth, if you will, to come from that product and that division. There is one other product in there called MD10, which I can talk to if you'd like, but CBond NanoShield is the main product and driver for the company in 2021 and possibly beyond.
I have a question for you. You and Allison both, whatever you feel, I would like to ingest the ideas for both of you on this if possible. I feel that you have a multi-billion-dollar industry right in front of you. Because everybody globally needs this product. Nobody has it. You have it. This is what makes you unique. Why are you speculating your revenue to be about $2 million in 2021? Which is something you have to elaborate, because I see there is no government in the world who doesn't want this. There is no private security person who doesn't want this. There is no person. A lot of rich people want to be secure in many parts of the world, and they even want bulletproofing because of a lot of crime, a lot of terrorism and other stuff. So I mean, all of this is mega billionth type of industry. Why are you speculating revenues for 2021?
Number one, we like to be conservative. So I'd rather far exceed expectations than not meet expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, it comes down to distribution. Like I said at the beginning of the call, we're a technology company.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have we have 9 employees in the whole company.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but we have many distributors and we have many contractors and many consultants that work with us. Expanding that distribution model is the goal for 2021, which will lead to much higher numbers, hopefully, than the 2.1 million that we have forecasted for revenue in 2021. So I think the answer is establishing distribution streams, both domestically and internationally, that can grow it to 2 million, then 10 million, then 20 million, and then partnering with the right large companies,
Mm-hmm.
like OEM windshield manufacturer,
Yes,
or
exactly.
an automotive manufacturer on
Absolutely.
the transportation side, or some type of major window film manufacturer, or glass manufacturer, or large construction companies
Mm-hmm.
on the architectural side. And then, I'm looking 3 to 5 years out now,
Mm-hmm.
once we've established those huge markets with growing substantial revenue growth,
Mm-hmm.
is then branch out to the other brittle material markets
Mm-hmm.
that we can move into. And the other large market besides glass is concrete and cement. But brittle materials also includes ceramics and porcelains. And taking what we do with automotive glass or architectural glass and moving it to electronics, moving it to solar panels, moving it to greenhouses, and things to that effect can be very, very substantial for us. So,
Wow.
to answer your question, Qasim, it's a matter of time and distribution channel.
Okay. And let me make a note here. Like being conservative is not going to help your shareholders. Just to give you a note of that. Yeah. Okay. So my next question. So what has been the response from the Fortune 500 companies towards CBondSystems?
So when you say Fortune 500, I don't know how to specifically define that, but there have been several large automotive windshield manufacturers, several automotive manufacturers, large rental car companies, windshield repair and replacement companies that are global, that have all been keen and taken interest to the technology we have. And everyone I just mentioned, in some form, has visited our offices in Houston, has visited Rice University to see where it was developed. And there has been a high amount of interest, primarily on the windshield side, because of the cost of windshields and how that's affecting the business model. So we have had offers to invest in the company or buy the company, buy at least one, if not more, of the types of partners that I just mentioned. But it's too early. We haven't created the value yet. So, we although the company's been around for 6 years, we've only been public for 2.5 years. I've been there now for 3 years. We spent 2020 really cleaning up the balance sheet. The balance sheet is so much nicer than it was at the end of 2019. And we just started the revenue ramp. We haven't gotten into this question yet, but what made our company value increase over the last 90 days, in my opinion, is that is that we got rid of any convertible debt that we had on our balance sheet.
Mm-hmm.
We started to grow the revenue in
Nice.
third quarter with huge growth in the fourth quarter, and then
Nice.
the forecast for 2021. So the story is just beginning, and 2021 is the year of key growth and that key inflection point that you talk about. So.
Sounds good. Thank you for that, really detailed answer. It clarifies a lot. Okay, so what is your outreach when it comes to distribution globally? Like, how would you answer to how many distributors you have in what regions of the world? What is the progress? What is their sentiment? What is their, what are their case studies? How are you supporting them?
Yeah, so we do have a good amount of international distribution partners, and we tend to break it down between products and geographic region.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some of our distributors that want the CBond NanoShield product.
Mm-hmm.
There are some of our distributors that want the CBond Secure or CBond BRS window film solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some of our customers that want the MB10 product, which we haven't talked about yet.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a disinfectant. It is not a proprietary product of ours. We have the exclusive distribution rights for the transportation sector for an EPA registered label and product that we brought it on board to complement the NanoShield product because of the verticals that we sell into the automotive sector. So we have a large partner based in Australia that represents us in 8 or 9 different countries
Mm-hmm.
for the NanoShield product. We've announced previously a large distributor in India by the name of Durient Life Sciences
Mm-hmm. Very good.
that has an exclusive there for the MB10 product. And both of those contracts, if meant to maintain their exclusivity, are 7-figure contracts for the coming year. We have partners in the Philippines that are selling both the NanoShield product and the MB10 product.
Mm-hmm.
We have partners in parts of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
We have partners in Dubai. So the answer is we have gotten a lot of attention from international distributors, and we break it down to primarily geographic region and by product. And our support is, given COVID, obviously, our support is primarily like this through Zoom calls or phone calls and providing them and shipping them the product. So that's our international stuff.
Okay, that's very nice. I have a supplementary question to that. When did you start creating a distribution network? How long has it been, and how many distributors by the numbers so far?
So again, let me break that down for you by product. So in the United States, I can't announce names yet, but we're in the process of building out a distribution model of up to 150 distributors, primarily for the CBond NanoShield product.
Mm-hmm.
That includes the product, a product warranty, potentially a service app
Mm-hmm.
that customers and service departments can use, penetration into F&I departments, specifically warranty companies
Mm-hmm.
within F&I department that provide warranties for windshields.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer is we hope that by the end of 2021 we'll have approximately 150 distributors in the United States. As far as international, right now we have probably 8 to 10 international distributors for our products. Again, that's broken down by geography and product. And, although we hope that grows in 2021,
Mm-hmm.
there's no question that the primary growth vehicle, like I talked about before,
Mm-hmm.
is the NanoShield product and the distributor model that I just laid out.
Wow, wonderful. That's very impressive. So once you have that many distributors signed up, so we're looking forward to a lot of money, revenue.
Again, I err to the side of being conservative. I know investors don't like that sometimes, but they sure like when we over deliver and not under deliver.
Okay. So for my next question, okay, this is like something very important. Do you have any plans of uplisting to Nasdaq?
The answer is yes. I've done that before in my career with some of the companies that I mentioned in the beginning, and various requirements, listing requirements that you need to meet. I believe one of the very relevant ones is a $15 million shareholder equity threshold.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, if and when that threshold is met, let's say when that threshold is met, we do hope to uplist. Can I tell people it's going to be in 2021? No, but if we can make it, that would be great.
Okay, fair enough. So, why was particularly I've been studying a lot about CBondSystems. The filings that you did. The press releases that you send out. Tell me about the last 6 months. Why do you think it was about the last 6 months? Why was it important for the future evolution of your company?
Very simple. When I got here, we had very limited cash. And although we raised some money when we went public, it wasn't enough money to commercialize the products. And I had to fund the company through, let's say, not the best financings available out there.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is we did it. We built the business. We built the products. We built the distribution streams. And then in the second half of 2020, we got rid of all those bad instruments. As I said earlier in the interview, we paid off every single convertible note, which is why I believe our stock was down around a penny at some point. And we also started to ramp the revenue. So it was the combination of those two things that made people, in my opinion, take notice of us.
Mm-hmm.
That had us perform. The stock performed well over the last 60 days. It's dropped back now a little bit. But I know this, when you're running a company, is that you can watch the stock all day. And I know a lot of investors do. I try not to, because we need to run the business. And if we run the business effectively, everything else will take care of itself.
Exactly, absolutely. It's like how they say that money is a byproduct of your talent.
Yeah.
So I think it's very interesting, and your answers will certainly get many people very excited. And let's take some time to actually, for this question, what message would you like to convey the audience today via this interview, and to your shareholders, investors, and everybody out there who's looking particularly at this unique technology that has been invented and developed with the combination of CBondSystems and Rice University, and to just simplify it, how are you going to make them rich?
Well, I think we've covered all that in the call, but let me see if I can put a synopsis together in 30 seconds for you, which is, it starts with our technology. It has a valuation from a prestigious third-party valuation firm of $33.7 million. And I think our market cap today is probably half or less than that. So, if you believe in the technology, if you believe in its roots at Rice University and how we've continued to develop at CBond, that's the beginning of the analysis. Then, when you look at the products that we've commercialized in the markets they serve, they're huge markets. And all we have to do now is execute on putting together a distribution model that's going to achieve the mass distribution that we hope for all of our products. And the last thing I'll leave you with, and for your investors to look at, to show the proof statement of what CBond is all about, go to our website, CBondSystems.com, look at the video of the bullet-resistant solution, look at how our technology stops a bullet in its tracks for a school, a government building, and then take that technology and use it on automotive windshields, and you'll see why we're very unique. Our technology is very unique. We have significant opportunity moving forward.
That's very, very, very interesting, and thank you for that very detailed answer. And so I'll add just one small peripheral question to this. So Are you planning on spending some budget on marketing, advertising, to actually bring out awareness for your product?
The simple answer is yes. Through the distribution model that I've explained previously about the NanoShield product, there will be marketing and advertising associated with that, absolutely. On the window film side, on the safety security side, we've talked about on investor calls, we've talked about putting together a private label product under a new name that we would take to market. And we are working on that. It's not out there yet, but I did talk about that previously, so it's in the markets. And we would move forward with marketing and advertising on that as well. But understand this, is that, again, we're a technology company. We're not a marketing and sales organization. So the people that will ultimately be marketing, advertising, promoting the CBond brand and the CBond technologies like CBond NanoShield will be our distribution partners and won't necessarily be the company.
Exactly.
We'll do our own part, but we want service departments when you pull up with your car into a service department and go to have the quick lane to have your oil changed. We want them to have a pamphlet or a brochure or a sign that says CBond NanoShield, strengthen your windshield so you never have to replace it again. That's the type of partnering that we will do on the marketing and branding side in order to advertise our product.
That's very nice, very nice, awesome. And Allison, would you like to add any comments at the end of this interview?
I think Scott did a very thorough job of explaining everything. I think it's about, as Scott said, building up the distribution, creating awareness for the products among, the end users, obviously. As it relates to NanoShield, we're basically creating a new market. As Scott said, there is no competition for this product, so we're creating a new market for a product that has, heretofore yet to exist, but it's a great product in a growing market that's getting even more expensive. So, we have a lot of opportunity, and we're really excited about the technology. It's proven, it's validated by third parties, and we believe it's definitely needed in today's world.
And Qasim, let me say this. I'm glad you brought Allison into it because, trust me, she's the brains behind the operation. I'm just the mouthpiece. But, we have a number of employees and consultants that work very hard every day at delivering the end result for CBondSystems and their shareholders. And not to mention them on this call would be not the right thing to do. So I'm mentioning them, and thank you guys.
Right. Well, much appreciated. And, thanks for taking out time today to speak to retail investors and traders like myself and the rest of the market who's your audience. And I hope a lot of people can bring out the awareness and get to know more about CBondSystems. This interview was an effort to actually give everybody an insight into what CBondSystems is doing and what are your plans for the future and how CBondSystems can be looked into the future for long-term investors, short-term investors, and people who are seeking technology companies which have this innovative stream of products like yourself. And the kind of intellectual properties that you have, about 32 of them, makes you huge, in the intellectual market, in property market space. So everybody, this concludes our interview today. And we had with us Scott Silverman. We have with us Scott Silverman and Allison Tomek from CBondSystems. And I thank them very much for participating today. And thank you very much for being the audience for this interview. If you would like to raise your questions and concerns towards and any kind of queries that you want to drive towards the company, you can email them at atomek@cbondsystems.com. And for any concerns, and if you would like to demo their products, personally for yourself, or if you would like to refer to anybody for in the market or some businesses or any of your concerns, just send an email to them. These people are very responsive. I was sent a sample to check it out, and because I wanted to do thorough due diligence for the retail market, so I was sent samples. I checked out the samples, and I'm hoping to get you a video of that pretty soon, which I'm going to be making myself, and which will exemplify, the NanoShield product to you, and how it's going to be used in the future. And thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Qasim. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Scott. And if you could just hold on a minute, I'm going to end the streaming.